sound, we've got lights, we have action. So just curious, how many of you have been through a pastoral transition before? Okay, so this happens. This is not something unusual. This is not something out of the ordinary. We've all been through it. And I'm sure it is a different experience each time. And it's different because of the makeup of the congregation. It's different because of the personality of the pastor that's leaving or the one that's coming in. It's different because of circumstances. Was this a choice? Was this somebody was instructed to leave or to come in? Things like that. All of these things impact how a transition works. So what we're talking about today is very specific to this transition now, okay? So we're not gonna rehearse past transitions. I will answer questions as best I can. There's some things that are honestly still fuzzy to me. Things are rather strict in the Presbyterian tradition, and so that's where regarding transitions, and that's kind of where I lean. So I just want to put it all out there, and we can talk about it. So the slide up here is the overview of what I will be covering, just the unique nature of the pastoral role, how it is that and this is about looking at the next year. Okay, this doesn't address what's going to happen a year from now when I can come back as a congregant. This is just what's happening in the next 12 months. And how do we preserve relationship during that year? How relationship is going to change during that year? What are the benefits of a year away? And what does the timeline look like? Okay, so that's our that is our overview. So we'll go on to slide number 2, the unique nature of the pastoral role. You are probably familiar with my my repetition of, I am here for you. You are not here for me. And so during my ministry, my focus is outward. If Steve's out of town on a Friday night or he's working, I don't call someone up in the congregation and say, I'm lonely, can we go do something? Because you are not here to fulfill my needs, okay? Because this is my role as pastor. It's one way. What are your needs? I don't want you so concerned about what's happening in my life that you don't call me. Oh, wait, Anne might be doing XYZ, so I'm not going to call her when I have a need. I have been here for you. And that is a very, I can't say very unique. My mother would hit me. Okay, she would really hit me. That is a unique scenario. Okay, to have that kind of a relationship. Likewise, I hear from you very, very personal things. And I hold all of that. And that it's such a gift to me that you have given me trust to carry these very personal, private things. But it is an expenditure of energy, part of my job, to hold, to hold all of this, okay? So again, that's part of the job, but it is taxing to hold all the stories and to try to remember and follow up and attend to everything that's going on. So in the year to come, things are going to shift a little bit, and I will go on to slide 3. How it is that we can preserve the relationship that we have. So the mutual love that we have for each other, that will continue. I'm not going to turn off the faucet of caring about you and for you. And I know that you care about and for me. And I do not anticipate that will change. So saying that, my hope is that you will continue to keep me in your prayers as I will keep you in my prayers. And when we do run into each other at a conference, at the MCC sale, things like that, just know that I'm not going to ask you about your personal concerns of your deepest, darkest things that we might have been talking about and struggling through and working through. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to inquire about your spiritual health. I'm not going to see how your relationship with God is going. Okay? But I will be me and you will be you. As you know, I'm a very open person anyway, so you already know pretty much 95% of me. So that's not going to change. It's going to take a while to practice not being in the pastoral congregant relationship. Because the connection won't go away, I promise. So what will change, slide 4, is that your primary pastoral relationship will be with Randy. Okay, so as you are struggling with perhaps a new diagnosis of illness, or you are worried about some dynamic in the church, or you are wanting to talk through an idea for a project that you have, or an adult Bible study, things like that. All of those will go to Randy. He will be presiding over special services, whether that is Ash Wednesday, or a memorial service, or a wedding, or other rituals that come about. He's going to be here with you and for you in all of those ways. He will also be here for your spiritual and emotional needs. And especially at the beginning, it's going to be really hard to go to somebody new. I will say that knowing that he is trained as a chaplain, that I have experienced that he has a way of welcoming anything that you might need to bring or want to bring, including, I'm missing Anne. I think that's a legit thing to bring to your pastor. And I don't know what to do with this because I can't call up Anne and talk it through with her. And often coming to your pastor with something that is deep and meaningful is a wonderful way to get to know each other and to begin a relationship. So I encourage that you don't have to stay on the surface for the first 6 months. Come in with all of yourself when you are engaging with your new pastor. Likewise, what's going to change is getting my input on anything. Like, well, what do you think about such and such with the church directory? What do you think about the congregation going on a trip to Israel? What do you think about changing the employee handbook or whatever? I will not have an opinion. Well, let me say it this way. I will not voice an opinion. How about that? I will not voice an opinion about what's going on at the church. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. Likewise, if there are staff issues or information, if Randy has questions about, how does this work? How do y'all do communion, et cetera, et cetera. I can say, this is what we've been doing. But here's, that's handed off to you. So information is okay. All right, so the benefits to you. Benefits, so that's slide 5. The benefit of a year away for the church is that you're going to have this new leadership energy. He is so excited about this. If you peek into my office, you'll see there are 24 boxes of books that he has brought, and probably some other things too, but mostly books. And as he was, loading things up onto the shelves, he's like, I'm so excited. So he is bringing this whole new bucket of energy and a different kind of energy than what I have, and is ready to engage. And that is a huge benefit to the church. It's also a benefit to you to know that this interim time, these last 2 years, has been successful. Interims or transitional ministry is not always successful. Or maybe there wasn't a connection or whatever, but in this situation, we worked through some really difficult things, and we're still here, and we're connected with each other. We are looking to the future. That is a miracle in itself. It really is, because not every church is willing to engage that kind of tension. And boy, we engaged the tension. And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't, but we kept engaging and we kept going at it. And I got to speak with you individually. We got to talk to each other in groups. This is tremendous. So many churches that have been through like an investigation or a departure of a pastor can lose up to 50% of their congregants. That's standard, okay? Because there's so much pain and not really knowing where to put it, feeling divided individually and divided as a congregation. And we found ways to keep going. And that is a tremendous success, that we have been able to rebuild trust and to have a positive outlook about what's coming. And you're able to look, able to focus on your future with Randy. So next slide. The benefits of a year away for me is that I will begin a transition from being pastor. It's going to take me a while because I am wired. I am wired to be a pastor. That's who I am. Whenever I communicate, there is intentionality. I am listening for certain things. I am doing certain things, and it is always, I try to have purpose behind what I'm doing, what I'm saying. And it's going to take a while to back off on that and to just kind of relax. Because, when I'm not in a pastoral role, I'm kind of snarky and sarcastic and can be misunderstood with that. So that's, the pastor thing, because kind of protects me in a way. And even though, as you know, I'm very open about my life and who I am. But in general, I am not accustomed to asking for help. So that's going to take practice. I'm not always the initiator of, let's do this or that. And that is a skill I don't have. So it's not personal, I guess, is the way to say it. I just have a lot of skills that I need to develop over the next 12 months. I'm not going to be going into full-time ministry from here. I'll probably do some pulpit supply, maybe projects here and there, but I am not looking for anything full-time, so I have to practice being retired. Those of you that have gone through this know that it's not easy. I tried to do it in 2021, by the way. I tried to retire, did not stick. All right. So my hope is that when I do come back in a year, that it will be as a congregant, that you won't see me as, oh, wow, now we've got 2 pastors, or 3 or 4. We've got many pastors in our midst. But I've had a particular role here, and we all need to work on not falling back into that, of my being a go-to person for X, Y, and Z. Randy will still be your pastor. Okay. All right. Any questions so far? All right. All right, next slide. Benefits of a year away, of my being gone for a year for Randy. That space will facilitate him building relationships with you. And he can be confident that I am not working behind the scenes. Yes, I happen to live with the accountant of the church, but I haven't had any financial influence up to this point, so I can't imagine that going forward that's going to change. It's really awkward to follow, and I can speak from personal experience. Stepping into a position of leadership when the previous pastor is still in deep contact with congregants, continues to visit congregants, continues to try to influence what's going on, et cetera, et cetera. And it's really difficult for the pastor, the new pastor. This is a it gets in the way of building trust. That's the best way to put it. And it's like, so who is the previous pastor talking to, and do they, are they ever going to come and talk to me? Are they going to continue to go to the previous pastor? And all of that, and it brings a layer of insecurity that is painful. So I encourage you to bond with Randy, because he is so wonderful. I trust him. I do, and I think my being away will give him he will be relaxed. It will be a gift to him that you are fully present with your new pastor. Okay. Next slide. So why a year? I've heard folks saying, well, couldn't it be 9 months or maybe 6 months? We like to call this the bargaining phase of grief. Okay. It's like, well, if we do this and you do that, I'm just glad that you've skipped over the anger part of grief, because that also does not help. I've told my daughter and other people who are dating, it's like, you need to go through all 4 seasons with someone before you make any big decisions. Okay, so don't, and I know there are always exceptions, but in general, going through all 4 seasons, you can see how someone is during all those times. So a year, you get to go through, he's going to be here like a week before Lent starts. So you're already going into a high holiday season with someone new, and you'll get to see how that evolves. And then it will be Advent before you know it, and it'll be Christmas again, and it'll probably be different, and have Pentecost and baby dedications and a baptism. You never know. So these are things that happen in a year. And those of you who have lost someone close to you know that first year is significant. Going through the anniversary of the birthday, going through holidays, going through summer break or whatever, that we need to go through that in order to come out stronger on the other side. Okay. This will provide enough time, a full year, basically to release me from the pastoral role. I know that this is not shunning. I know that you are not angry at me. I know that that we are not separated forever. Okay? That it's a gift to all of us. It is a release, and that is, again, a unique thing that churches do. This doesn't happen in every area of life. So it will be a tremendous gift to me to know that you are willingly releasing me from this particular role. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about that. Do you have any particular questions or concerns or words of hope? Thank you. I am also hoping for a fantastic year. I have some needlepoint projects that have been woefully neglected. Here's Evan.
Do you think you would be inclined to get involved with another church in the meantime? A
Yes.
Presbyterian church or whatever is your inclination?
Yes, actually, I'm Welsher Presbyterian Church. It has some friends of mine are worshiping there. They have a choir. Sarah Martin sings in their choir, so that would be a treat to be in a choir with her. And I'm actually already scheduled to preach out at Western Slopes coming up in the spring. So that will be a lovely period of time. They only meet twice a month. So, but Paul can tell you more about that. Paul Johnson has been worshiping and serving there for how long now? 5 years? 5 years. All right. Vicki? Here. Vicki has a question.
I don't know if this makes any sense.
Just hold it closer.
There?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if this makes any sense because this whole thing is so confusing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Is there, and this might be unanswerable, but is there a better way to do a transition? Because for me, as my daughter would characterize me as always standing on the edge of the ledge,
Okay.
it feels like to me when I'm in the extreme, like death, like grief.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care what you say, I don't care, that's how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And can't there be a better way to do this transition thing? I mean, some of us don't have thousands of friends because we're very private,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes a lot to establish
Right.
that group of people.
Mhm.
And then I'm told I can't talk to them.
Mhm.
I can't do, it makes me angry. It brings up all kinds of feelings within me, and I'm
Yep.
sorry to share all this.
No, that's.
But has anybody done research on how effective this? I call it shunning, because I
Okay.
don't know the other word, any other
Mhm.
word for it.
Mhm.
How effective it is? Is there another way we could do this? That's just a question I
Yeah,
have.
yeah. I honestly don't know. I don't know if I'm sure there has been research done, but um, I'm not aware of any research outcomes, one way or the other. Um, Actually, the next time we have adult ed, which will be on January 18th, it will be focused on grief. And also we'll have circle discussions at that time. So this is very much a time of grieving. Absolutely, absolutely. And I assure you, I am not feeling shunned. I know, right? No, I'm also just acknowledging that that is how it feels. Um, I think you will be uh, reassured along the way. Um, I don't know how it's going to be. The last time I left a pastorate, I had been at the church for 10 years. And when I announced that I was leaving, there were a lot of very deep, strong emotions, um, and some anger directed at me. And it was, and one parishioner actually said, "Don't you love us anymore?" Okay, I'd been there for 10 years. And I said, "Of course I love you. I just happen to love Steve Slaughter more." So I'm moving to Denver. But it is confusing. It is confusing because and when we talk about grief, it isn't just death. We don't just grieve death. We grieve every kind of loss. And that's what we'll be getting into more deeply on the 18th.
I think many of us who have been probably all of us have been a part of pastoral transitions. A lot of times they're not pretty.
Yeah.
They're really, really hard. So I think even though I don't want to diminish anyone's feelings, in some ways it's a gift to have a proactive plan from someone that we love who is leaving and someone who I think we will love who is coming in. That is so unique because usually there's a lot of strife, and as a result, we don't have clear ideas on what we're doing in our transition. So really appreciate all that you've put in here. It's given me a lot of food for thought because I was one of those. I was like, 6 months, like, come on. But talking about going through all the seasons with someone new makes sense. Like, I get what you're saying with that. And I think it's also just something to be thoughtful with our pastors, just having been in that role with my husband of what that is like for them. There's a closeness, but there's also always kind of a little bit of a protective layer around a pastor where they know so much, but they also, they're never fully indulging all of themselves to us because they kind of can't. It's a tricky role. Same with their families. So, allowing Steve to be who he needs to be in this is great. Thinking ahead with Randy, and it's Gary, right? Is his husband, like thinking about that too? Because I think there's also these expectations that sometimes come with those spouses of involvement or emotional involvement, physical involvement. And yeah, I think this has just given a lot of thought to these roles and what they actually are, and what we perceive them to be and what it can actually be for the pastor is sometimes a little different. And I think we're feeling that right now.
Yeah. Thanks, Ruthie. Oop.
I think we generally, and I feel all the love directed towards Anne, and I hear Anne feeling that, and I still don't think we really grasp how hard it is to have a graceful, beneficial interim pastorate. So first off, just thank you, because it is such a difficult task, and I think you've handled it better than anybody could have even hoped for.
Thank you.
And I view this year, and I know that can be hard. I view it as a gift, though, also having been in your shoes. That gift is a year for you. And even if it's hard for us, I totally see the value and the long-term value for us, for you, for Randy. You laid it out wonderfully. So I just pray that year will just be amazing.
Thank you.
Angie, excuse me. So my little card said, excuse me, certainty. I am certain, I really am certain, that Anne is going to be just fine. I am certain that Randy is going to be just fine. And I think our church is going to be just fine. Now, that may be Pollyannish, but I really,
Louder.
pardon me, I really feel that certainty is that we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
In thinking and talking about the process for you, you have a great deal of your identity tied up with being a pastor. Like, I don't know what the percentage is, but it would be really high. And, you know, in America, we're forever hearing about, well, men identify with their jobs, which is true. But having been a dedicated public servant for a very long time myself, I can say that I know those questions are there. Who will I be during this time, and what will change? So I think about all those questions because I went through a lot of that myself not too long ago. And I think probably harder for people who have established in their work these very deep personal connections. So I guess one thing to think about for you, Anne, and for us is to acknowledge that we're going to have these feelings and to be willing to just sit with them sometimes, you know, and let that feeling wash over us, knowing that how we feel in that moment, especially if we're feeling bad in some description of our own interpretation, that feeling is going to change soon. It'll come back. This is grief. But also, you know, just such a great deal of joy. I here, and then when we used to attend our Vada Minnow, went through a number of transitions, and none of them was ever this well thought out or enjoined as it has been with you and your willingness to be proactive. And so I have a great deal of confidence in you. And I think that all of us could say that, you know, we'll be praying and thinking about you very frequently.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And yes, my identity is tied up in being in public ministry. So, you know, congregational ministry has only been part of my ministry through the years. I've worked as a chaplain, as a seminary professor, as an administrator, you know, all kinds of different things. And as for being connected with that, when I was maybe 10 or 11, I gathered the other little girls in the neighborhood and I may have told you this already, but I said we need to form a group to raise money to give away, and called the group the Happy Helpers Charity Club. So I've been wired this way for a long time. So there's certain aspects of ministry and pastoring and giving in that sense that it's not going to change. That's not going to change. But I certainly will be more sarcastic. Sam?
I wanted to say, Ann, that I'm looking back to when you first came here in the pastorate and how you brought us through understanding what we're going through, missing Glenn and not missing him, whatever. But you said you had a really very good sense of what that was and what we were feeling. And it really made a difference to me. And I think that what you're doing on this end is very similar in that in this case, it's like a little bit of an unknown for what's coming ahead. But I also, because of your leadership, and also because I also know a bit about Randy, that I am looking forward to this. And like all of us, we will miss you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I will be missing you. I promise that. And on that note of mutual, being in the Mutual Admiration Club, I want to thank you for being here today and for being part of a smooth transition. Go figure. It can happen in a church. What? So I thank you for your time and attention today. And I will be gone next week. I'm very grateful to Darren, who has suddenly disappeared, who will be preaching next Sunday, and I will be back on the 18th.
I have one more thing to
Oh,
say,
yeah. Oh, hi, Dave.
very quick. This is a quote from Meister Eckhart. If the only prayer you say in your life is thank you, that would suffice. My prayer, and to you, thank you.
Much appreciated. Thank you, Dave.